Hey, let me find out we about to be a run first team again this year, as the Washington Commanders is not only giving Bill first run opportunities now, but they're running a lot of 12 and 13 personnel. Uh-oh.
The team placed Nate Herbig on reserve, retired today.
Another day, another dollar, as the Washington Commanders are back on the practice field again for yet another training camp practice. Today was a very interesting day, to say the least, as it got kicked off with the Washington Commanders player retiring. Let's talk about that and all things from today's training camp. Let's talk about it.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career, and he's already milking injuries? Like,
stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty's no beginner. She's confident.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We on the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video I'm coming on here with yet another Washington Commanders training camp recap. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you can notify when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers, so that'd be greatly appreciated if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight into today's video. Subscribe to 4th and 1 and the Burgundy Breakdown. Those links are down below in the description. Let's get straight into today's video. So I first want to start by saying yesterday I was out at training camp. I met a lot of you all. I did a bunch of interview stuff for a video, and it got some great feedback. If you guys have not checked out that video, please do yourself a service by checking out that video. Ain't last year was, but we putting that in the past. What is your expectations and thoughts for this upcoming season?
Super Bowl. Oh, nothing less. Super Bowl.
I got so well responded by you all, and I can't thank you all enough. I think we truly got something with that kind of video. And as you guys know, I've always said, being a field reporter is what I want to do. Like, that has always been my goal, and to finally put it in action yesterday and to see that everyone is loving it, it warms my heart, because this is just the start. So yes, I plan on trying to be at majority of the home games and do exactly that, right? Interviewing the fans, whether we just won, just lost, you know what I'm saying? So just stay tuned for all things that we have in that specific field, because I think we truly got something with that. And I thank you all for the support on that, and I love that I met a lot of you all yesterday as well. You all are so kind, nice, and I love this fan base, man. So appreciate y'all, and thank you again. Let's get to today's video though. So Dan Quinn spoke to the media today, and it was a shocking speech that he started off with having Nate Herbig, offensive line, put on the reserve/retired list. And he said it was simply just a personal decision for Nate Herbig. It wasn't nothing that injury-wise or that he and the staff decided. It was totally up to him. And it's very interesting, because I thought Nate Herbig was a big signing this past offseason due to the fact that, former Steeler, and he was a guy that still had a lot of years left in him in terms of age, and had the size of a really good quality guard. And I'm like, okay, at worst, he can be some depth. He was a big reason as to why I felt like Washington's depth on the offensive line was superior. Not only was the starting five really good when healthy Sam Cosmi, I felt like this offensive line had the best depth that it had in years. And now this kind of throws a wrench in the plans, and I'm not sure who down steps up or who is going to fight for that roster spot. Maybe Chris Paul, somebody of that nature. I don't want to put, over emotion into it and act as if he was some type of starter, a guy that was going to be contributed upon this upcoming season. But of course, being in the trenches, being in the offensive line, that's a position group where you want to have as many soldiers and as many available bodies as possible. So to kind of lose one, it definitely sucks. But I never fault anyone for retiring. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what they're going through in their personal life. You don't know how they're personally feeling. You don't know if this is a little bit challenging for them. You don't know what's going on. It could be like, oh yeah, man, I don't want to physically do this anymore, so I'm gonna walk away. Maybe it's a case of I just need to get my mind and body right this season and maybe try again next year. You know what I'm saying? It's never off the table. You've seen guys like that, like this, do this all the time. And I mean, I think even Washington, Sadiq Charles, I think he did that. And now he's back in the league playing for the Dallas Cowboys. So you never know what those situations are like, but you never want to fault anybody for making those personal decisions, because at the end of the day, you don't know what truly is going on in their personal life. Next up on Dan Quinn's press conference, he talked about the schedule. So today, which is a little sad for me, because when I was at training camp yesterday, I was a little underwhelmed in terms of the action. I was like, man, first day of pads, like we should see some great stuff. We saw some great things, but not as much as today. As Dan Quinn says, today will be one of those high practices, high intensity practices, and tomorrow will be an off day. And he said he kind of scheduled it that way, and this is how it'll be kind of throughout campus. You'll have these days where you ramp it up really hard, go heavy, and then you have like a lower intensity practice, or in this case, an off day, kind of just balance out the scheduling and to keep the bodies fresh throughout camp. And again, that's something that I think goes over a lot of people's heads when it comes to Washington signing a lot of these older veteran guys. Is I don't know if any other team, I'm sure other teams take good care of their veterans, but I'm not sure if any other team makes an emphasis on that like Dan Quinn does. Like, he makes it a legit like mandem right or something like that, like a legit like right to do right by your vets and give them the proper rest days and allow them the proper time off to stay fresh and stay healthy throughout camp, because at the end of the day, it is a longevity practice, camp, and season, right? Like, we think these guys are getting weeks off throughout the season because they play once a week. No. Since July all the way until, let's say, February, hopefully for us that means we win a Super Bowl, they have not had a true legit time off. That they're ramping it up from the summer all the way into the early winter. So this time is going to be proved to be important. So that's why you have these schedulings the way that they are, and I love that because he said once we get to like the week of New England, the first preseason game, August 8th, he said those are going to be high intense practices, right? Joint practices with the New England Patriots. Those are where you're going to go out there and expect to really perform high. And that is crucial, right? That's crucial to get to New England healthy. You don't want to have super high practices consistently here and now your body's shut down on you when you have to actually play true competition. So I love how we're scheduling this thing. And it's definitely refreshing to have a coach that actually cares about the health of his players. Next thing he talked about was Mikey Sainristil taking a leadership role. And I told you all, every single time I see Mikey Sainristil, that's my guy. Like, that's my dog. And I saw him yesterday live in color, and him and Trey Amos, that is going to be a future duo that is going to run the NFL. When I say that, I do not use that term loosely. And Dan Quinn feels the same way as well. As he said, Mikey took a leadership role. It's something that he probably wouldn't have done last year, but he's kind of taking Trey Amos under his wing and kind of showing him the ins and outs and showing him, the right way to do things. And it's like, are we forgetting that Mikey Sainristil is only in his second year as well, but he's already taken that leadership-esque role? That's why we think so highly of him, because it's not just the play on the field, it's the kind of person that he is, right? And the kind of leader that he is. And the play on the field speaks for itself. Yesterday, when I was live there at Ashburn, he made yet another great PBU. Speaking of Trey Amos and Mikey Sainristil, the play that was designed for those guys, it was a pick route. And Mikey was lined up on the inside and Trey Amos was lined up on the outside. But due to the pick route, they had to basically swap. So mid-play, Mikey had to swap out and Trey had to go in. And that ultimately led into a pass breakup by Mike Sainristil, which it was flawless. It was flawless. You know, those pick routes are very, very hard to, stop at times, especially if it's executed perfectly by the offensive side of the ball, but they countered it so perfectly. And again, I think that duo is going to be so fun to watch for the future of the Washington Commanders. And like I said yesterday, like all state, the Washington Commanders cornerback room is in great hands for the future, especially with these two, and Mike Sainristil and Trey Amos. He also talked a little bit about Bill, and that's something that everyone continues to talk about. Speaking of my time there in Ashburn yesterday, I quickly saw why these guys love Croskey Merritt. It's not nor so what did he do yesterday that finally made me impressed, because I've been talking highly of him for a long time, but I actually got to see him yesterday. It's not something that you can describe and put into words, right? You look at a running back, or for that matter, you look at a player, and you can just tell he has it. And that's how I describe Bill. I can't necessarily put, oh, he does this, he does that, he has this, he's fast, blah, 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 because we all know that to be the case. But it's like, when a player has it. And Bill has it. I mean, the way he was running, powerful, strong, quick, elusive yesterday, hitting the hole. Like, everything that we've been asking for out of a running back, he has produced and showed throughout these couple days of training camp, and it's only going to get better for him. And I'm super excited about that on Croskey Merritt's front, because, again, he is already a fan favorite. And the last thing we'll talk about before we get to the on-field portion of today's training camp is Dan Quinn talking highly of Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sinnott. And you guys know, when I heard that, I super smiled, because yesterday I said Ben Sinnott and Jaden Daniels had a rapport that was like no other. Like, him and Ben Sinnott was able to connect over the middle a couple of times yesterday, and it gave me straight smiles, because y'all know I've been fiending for some type of tight end position help, right? Since Jordan Reed, I've been wanting a superstar level tight end, and we just haven't had that. And I'm not saying Ben Sinnott can be a superstar level guy, but if he can be, borderline good and just be better than what he was last year and actually produce, I think we got us one in terms of, a guy that can help out in the tight end room. And I love it. That was very, very cool to see, and here to see Dan Quinn give him his recognition. And also Luke McCaffrey, it seems like a lot of people are very hard on him. And that's why I said I don't hold him to the standard of like a Ben Sinnott in year 2, because I expect a lot out of Ben Sinnott. I don't really expect much out of Luke McCaffrey, not just because he's new to the wide receiver position, but it's just like I want to allow him to develop and let him see it through and see what we actually have. And it seems like a lot of people just expect him to be this monster, maybe because of his last name, but he's slowly taking it along. And yesterday, him and Jaden Daniels were able to connect on a few passes. They even stayed after practice for a while working on some things, like some motion plays, and him and Luke McCaffrey were trying to get things down. You can't take away the fact that Luke McCaffrey wants this, right? Whether you would think highly of him, or you think he's good, or you don't think he's good, he wants this, man. He truly does. And I seen it live in color yesterday. He's working hard, and I'm really pulling for him, but also I'm not expecting much out of him. But it's always great to hear your coach give you the proper flowers, as DQ gave Ben Sinnott and Luke McCaffrey, a couple of year 2 offensive playmakers for the Washington Commanders. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to the on-field portion of today's practice. So getting some notes here from Lionel Willingham. He says, offense through the first 6 practice, I've seen a lot of heavy packages. 12 and 13 personnel used quite a bit. The team had a 6th highest rush rate in the NFL last year. Running is their DNA. If Sinnott can emerge in year 2, we'll see more pass plays out of those sets. And this isn't a surprise, right? Remember when Cliff Kingsbury was in Arizona, and a big part of his failure there was the lack of involving the run game. He borderline abandoned it and put it all on the shoulders of Kyler Murray. And that's something that we've seen totally different here in Washington, as he has tried to establish the run game. It had the 6th highest rush rate last year, but the thing is, the reason why it wasn't so pretty is because if it wasn't Jaden Daniels getting it done on his legs last year, no one was, right? So it wasn't Brian Robinson, it wasn't Chris Rodriguez, it wasn't Jeremy McNichols, it wasn't Austin Eckler. But the thing that makes it different now and potentially more effective is the fact that you have a guy like Bill Croskey Merritt that can come in and give you exactly what you're looking for in the production out of those specific run sets. I think Bill's a guy, again, as I mentioned earlier, you just have to see him in person, whether it's a practice, whether it's a game. He has something that just is it. You can't really describe it. Like, you can't put it into words. But whatever it is for you and how you think it is, that's Bill. That is Ja'Cory, bro. Like, he looks the part. And if we can get some similar production out of him this upcoming year to allow us to effectively run the ball, oh man, watch out. And then Ben Sinnott emerging in year 2 would be huge, not just for him, but for us as a team, because we need a tight end. Like, I like Zach Ertz. John Bates is cool, but I really want to put my stock into Ben Sinnott, man, because I think that upside for him is very cool. Moving on to another note, you have Noah Brown. Just had a deep ball go through his hands. Beautiful ball placed by, I'm assuming Jaden Daniels, but in good coverage by Marshawn Lattimore. Ball went right through his hands. And again, I'm not going to put too much stock into it, right? Noah Brown's one of our top receivers on this roster, so you would love to see him make those catches, but you ain't going to beat him up too much about it. He is working back from, his injury, and when game time comes, Noah B, he rarely allows the ball to hit the carpet. So I ain't worried too much about that. Moving on to another note here. It says Chris Moore hearing from Mikey after a failed deep shot. Mikey is having a camp. Don't let Frozone get the yapping. He already having a really, really good camp. Now he talking his track. He really feeling himself, y'all. This guy is a star. He is, man. And he's showing it. Day in and day out. When I was at camp yesterday, he was having a really good day. Prior to that, he's had good days, interceptions involved as well. Like, he's been on one this camp. So moving on to another note here, says Jaden just uncorked the dime right through the hands of Chris Moore. And I'm assuming when he says right through the hands, he means they're dropping these passes. That's what I'm assuming, right? So if that's the case, it's not Jaden Daniels, it's the weapons around him, and you can't really fault the offense for being lacking because they're missing their star guy. Would that pass be dropped if it was Terry McLaurin? Would that be good coverage if that was Terry McLaurin instead of Noah Brown, or Terry McLaurin instead of Chris Moore? Would he have had creative separation and be wide open? Like, we can't really judge the offense, although they are struggling, and then that would have been a sack according to Kalina Willingham. Like, although they're struggling, how much stock can we truly put into this when we're not at our 100% rate, right? Like, we have to wait and to see where Terry McLaurin's at, when we'll get him back out there. We need him, man. We truly do. But moving on to the defensive side of the ball here with a couple of notes. It says Kane Madrano just picked off Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman was having a good day up until that point. And Kane Madrano's a very interesting piece. Obviously having that background connection with Ken Norton Jr. and, Adam Peters being former Bruins. He's a guy that I think is a developmental piece, right? At worst, I think, I should say, at best this year, I think he can be a very, very good contributor to the special teams unit. Not too sure about if he's going to be a linebacker, if he's going to play some hybrid save. Like, not really too sure what they plan on doing with him. I just know, considering the fact that he is a rookie developmental piece, late round pick, special teams is a way to make this team and to be involved this year. And he can learn behind a star-studded linebacking core of Bobby Wagner, of Frankie Louvu, right? So it'll be very cool to see what he does. And then moving on to another defensive note, it says Dorrance Armstrong tipped the ball, ended in a rough period for the first team offense. So it seems like the defense continues to dominate the first team offense. Again, that's cool for the defense, but of course, if you don't overreact, don't stress out about the offense struggling, because again, it is without our star man Terry McLaurin. All right, let's see. Let's go to Zach Selby. So here's a nice and encouraging update on our first round pick, Josh Connolly Jr. Per Zach Selby. He says, I'm liking the way Connolly is moving today. He just had a really solid pull block that allowed Felton to break loose for an explosive run. That's encouraging, because I have a video coming out on Josh Connolly Jr. a little bit today. There are already some radio hosts, and I'm pretty sure y'all know who I'm talking about, already talking down on him and pretty much, saying he's been horrible in camp thus far. And it's just like, bro, relax. It's day 6, if that. Like, we're already saying he's struggling and he's looking bad, and he doesn't look the part already through a couple freaking practices. Like, it's not that serious. He's a first-round draft pick, of course, so the standard is different, but he still has to develop. He still has to learn. He still has to prepare and switch to the NFL level. So I think he'll be fine, and this is encouraging, of course, but the room he's in with Laramie Tunsil and Sam Cosmi and Tyler Biadasz, like, he's in good hands, bro. So I'm not really too worried about if Conley is having a slow start to camp or if he's not looking the part right now. That is the least of my worries because I know he's going to eventually figure it out. Another note here says a lot of deep passes today. Cornerbacks are doing pretty good jobs of providing coverage and preventing explosive plays, and that's something that, we struggled with before this regime here. Like with Ron Rivera, we used to live off of giving up explosive plays. So to see that we're staying, balanced, staying consistent, and staying, most importantly, flag free when these deep shots tend to happen, it's encouraging. It is encouraging, and I love to hear it. And continuing on with the DBs, this is an interesting name right here, Carlin Vigors. I remember I told y'all about Carlin Vigors a couple months ago. I said, this is a guy that's interesting to me. Not sure if he'll make the roster and be a contributor to the cornerback room, but maybe special teams is his way to make this roster. But per Zach Selby today, it's a great move by Carlin Vigors to get his hands up late and break up the pass intended for KJ Osborne. He's an interesting name, man. I really am interested in Carlin Vigors. He's a nice DB, has nice size, length, and has great speed, and clearly a great awareness to get his hands up and prevent a pass without having a flag thrown. He's interesting. Not too sure how his tenure will play out here. Not sure if he makes this roster, but that's a name to keep an eye out for. You know what I mean? Then moving on to another note here says Debo made a diving catch on a deep pass from Daniels, drew a lot of cheers from the crowd, and Debo Samuel continues to have a hell of a camp, and he continues to impress and clearly show people that he's not washed, he's not fed, he looks good. And yesterday when I was out there live at camp, man, he looks amazing. I'm talking about, can't tell that he's fat. Of course, he is a bigger receiver, right? Like, not fat wise, but like, he's not like a toothpick. He has some size on him, balls. Like, he has to, right? He's not no typical running wide receiver. He's a guy that is a running back as well. It takes some carries up the back. Like, he has to have some weight on him, but it looks good. If they say he's at the 8% body fat, I could believe it. He was moving very well, very quick, very spry. Looks healthy, man, first and foremost. So I love what I'm hearing from Debo Samuel. Encouraging words on that as well, of course. So there you all have it. Wrapping up yet another successful day in Ashburn. The Washington Commanders finishing today's training camp practice. A lot of notes and nuggets taken away from today. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comment section. As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can notify when I upload videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers, and swing by around 12:45 p.m. As you guys know, we're doing our weekly live show like we do every Tuesday. So hopefully you come by for that. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.